the Federal Reserve Bank is ripping us off blind. And you sit there, oh, I got such good information today. You're wasting your time and your family's time. So with that said, end of this program, we'll be talking about how you can step it up and take some action that's different, because I am quite adamant about this. So the reason we have this coaching programs available to you is so that you can take action. You can do something different. Even when I was flying in Vietnam, we had coaches. We had advanced pilots teaching us how to fly better. That's how we survived. So I'm adamant about this. I'm sick and tired of talking to people who just soak in data, but don't do anything different. So I'm happy to say I've made more money than ever before this year. I hope you have too. But if you haven't, you better do something different. I've never made so much money this year than ever before. So anyway, this is not an ordinary time. So we're a very special guest today. A dear friend of mine, I got through school sitting next to the smartest girl in the class. And her name was Sylvia. And I was sat next to Sylvia, and every time they needed an answer, I leaned over and I asked Sylvia. In school, that's called cheating. In capitalism, that's called cooperation. So I'm always cooperative, and I'm always honored to have Nomi Prins here, because she understands this is a woman of action. She has done it. She's not sitting there in a classroom at MIT or Harvard studying academic or finance theory. She's actually worked on Wall Street. She's traveled the world. She's checked out the banks, the central banks of the world. She knows what she's talking about. And I read her book and it blew me away. I was sitting up in in Alaska, reading her book going, oh my God. Because she knows what goes on behind the scenes of that fake guy, Powell and Bernanke, all these central bankers. And you listen to CNBC and Fox News and all this, oh, don't fight the Fed. Well, you should fight the Fed because they're ripping you off. So I'm very happy to have Nomi here, because she actually takes action, more than most academics do, and she knows what she's talking about. So we're going to have a great discussion today on why the Fed is one of the biggest criminal organizations going. It is criminal what they're doing. So that's why I have tremendous respect for Nomi, because she doesn't talk about it. She worked on Wall Street, she traveled the world, she knows how they play the game. And the game is rigged against the middle class and the poor. And the middle class is soft. I've never seen so many soft people in all my life. I've never seen students who complain if I say something that triggers them. I'm just shocked. So the point here is this: the reason I want to talk to people is it's not that I recommend real estate.
So investing in real estate makes a lot of sense. Investing in real, right? In a place you can live in, you can rent out if you need to, you can, sort of accumulate something physical is tremendously important. It's more than half of my portfolio, probably 60, 70% of my assets are in real estate. And I think this is something where even if people can get a tiny foothold in. And I don't know what you think of this, but in the UK, for example, because things are so inflated and so high, and young people can't afford to buy anything, they're actually pooling together like shares in apartments just to get their foot on the ladder. And I think that them just even getting in, if they can't afford an entire apartment, to get into the real estate ladder. You don't want to be living on the streets. Look, at the end of the day, even if it's small, even if it's shared, getting in there means that at least you'll have a home you own over your own head, or you'll expand and have 2 homes and rent 1 out, or you'll expand and have 20 homes and rent 19 out, whatever it is that you have a path.
For those of you, this is my concern, Nomi. If the stock market comes down and you guys are all young, it wipes out the old guys, the baby boomers. Because the stock market was only the game after 1974 when the 401k was invented. So we have a 60 million, I don't know how many baby boomers in America and throughout the world, because you see the world. If they raise their prices, all these RRSPs in Canada, superannuations in Australia, and 401ks and IRAs in America, they get toasted. And the way I see it, because I'm a pessimist, I'm a Marine pilot, the way I see it, my generation, the boomers, They had the easiest of all generations.
So the last thing you want to do is sit there and spend time, making yourself read things or think about things that you can't eat, right? But it's so important. You basically have to step out of that mentality and understand money, learn about investments, learn about real estate, and help yourself.
Right. This is the reason I started this whole program, saying that this is not an educational program. I'm speaking today. I want you guys to hire a coach so you have a better chance of success.
Right.
And my family, oh my God. I have friends, outside my family. I know more than you because I have a real estate license. I said, well, how much real estate do you own? None, but I have a license. I'm a professional. I said, well, how much real estate do you own? None, but they're giving advice. So please share me. The reason I pitch coaching and all that, because my rich dad was my coach. He slapped my head until I was 35 years old. Slapped my head, not really slapped me, but said, hey, wake up. Wake up. Did you check this out? Did you check that out? Did you do this? Did you do that? So you're only as good as your teacher. So spend some money, hire a great coach, and you'll have a better chance of success. And the reason I love and respect Nomi so much is she is a woman of action. She's not just a teacher standing from a classroom.
The idea of having a coach and having one is money so well spent, because you're basically leveraging off of someone else's experience. You're going to be able to take action. Like someone else has been in the war zone, right? They've gone through the ups and downs of buying and selling real estate. They're there to basically, it goes to, I used the word pragmatic before. It's like, would you rather, have someone who just has a license and doesn't buy and sell their own real estate, tell you things, or would you rather have someone who's bought and sold their own real estate? I mean, it's obvious, right?
Yeah.
And so that idea of having that expertise in a coach makes so much sense, whatever the outlay is, because it's only going to come back in spades, because you're going to get the benefit of someone else's experience and someone else's knowledge and someone else's work. And you're going to be able to leverage that.
I have great coaches.
Right.
Great coaches. And that's why the rich get richer. I don't pretend to know anything.
That's
Anyway,
right.
Nomi, I have tremendous love and respect for you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
We're in a day. My question is, how much longer can they keep playing this silly game? How much longer can the central banks keep practicing communism and nobody calls them on it?
That's a fantastic question. I think we're a couple years away from a real next crisis. And I think it'll happen during the election year. I think it'll be 2024. I think until then, they are playing this game. But at the end of the day, there is no, it's like in physics, right? A power can only stop if it's met by an opposing power or energy source or whatever that is. In central banking, there's no opposing power. And we're literally, there just isn't. If you can basically create double the amount of money you had, which was 4 trillion, a little less than 4 trillion, and now it's 9 trillion. So more than double your money by doing nothing. And there is no opposing power.
Right.
They can keep this going.
Right.
This is why it's so scary. They can continue to distort, and they continue to create more inequality and say they're doing it for the benefit of the real economy and for people. And they can keep going when they need to do that.
Right.
That's where we're at. I wish I could say there's going to be some end to that ability to distort the real economy from the markets, but there isn't. There simply isn't right now.
I think they passed a point of no return.
Yeah.
And for people that never study economics, a central communism is a command and control. It's basically like a dictatorship of the economy.
It is, and with a central bank, you're dictating the creation of money.
Correct.
And in a government, you might be dictating other things, the military, et cetera. But with central, it's very specific, and that's why it's so powerful and scary. What they can do without being elected, without having to basically show any form of transparency, without any limitation, is just to create money and not care and not have to be accountable for what happens to most of the people on this planet when they do that.
And if there's a stock market crash with the 401k, which was started in 1974,